Hello. Welcome everyone to the next lecture of data analytics in Excel. In this lecture, we will be working with conditional formatting. I am very excited and we are going to use the same case study as we used in our last lecture and we will be building on the same concepts. Let's see how it goes. Coming back to the screen, the first thing that you might notice is that the entire screen is not, let's say, clean. So we first need to clean everything. I will go and select the entire sheet by clicking between these two arrows. And clicking between A and Z, double tap, I will have enough space, that is auto spacing. And then using Control Shift right arrow, I will be able to select everything. And then I will do Control B so that I can bold the headers, right? Now the second thing that I want to show you is before learning conditional formatting, you first need to understand what is formatting in the first place, right? So if you can go ahead and you can, okay, let's say I'm selecting these first columns and I'm, let's say, making the background yellow, right? I am selecting these and I'm actually going to, let's say, put borders all along, right? So what I am doing right now is formatting, right? And whenever we want to create formatting based on a particular function, it becomes conditional formatting. Now, teaching you what formatting is something that you will figure out by yourself. I don't need to teach you. And the point of me having this lecture is to make you very efficient with Excel when you work in a particular corporate setup, right? So I will actually undo both of them. You can work around with other, let's say, alignment options or let's say font options as you wish. For now, let's just see what conditional formatting is. Conditional formatting, just like how we saw sort and filter in the last lecture, is also in our home tab only. And if you're going to click on a conditional formatting, you can see a lot of things in front of you, right? So for now, I will just select, let's say, aggregate rating so that you can understand better, because we have a rating color option as well, right, next to our column R. So if I'm going to be here, you can see if I'm going to click on conditional formatting and I'm going to color scales, and under color scales, I'm going with the first one, that is green to red, right? The first, let's say, column became green. Now here is the issue. Whenever you are actually going to apply conditional formatting, that is whatever it can be, whatever rule you might want to have, you first need to select the entire column, and that's why I only selected only one particular, let's say, a cell. And when I say the entire column, the other blunder everyone will do is selecting the entire column by clicking on R. I want you to select where the data is using Control Shift down arrow so that you can practice all the time. Now go to conditional formatting and go to color scales and do green to red. And now if I'll go all the way to the top, you can see that there is a color gradation with all the cells, and whichever cell is having higher rating is displayed as green, and whichever cell is at, let's say, lower rating, we have 0, and then we have white here, but we know we are actually going to apply red. We have applied red, so we can change that also, and we'll see how we can change that so that it can match with whatever we have here. And you can see then again we have greens and then we have yellows. So this is one thing that I will be teaching you right now, but I will be repeating when we will be working with visualizations in Excel. The thing is, most of the people who actually work with, let's say, visualization in Excel, they forget that whenever they were working with conditional formatting, they already completed something known as heat maps. So if I have to teach you, or let's say not even teach you, I have to explain you what heat maps are all about so that you can relate conditional formatting whenever you're working with visualizations later. Heat map, okay, let's say you have an iron rod. If you will keep on heating it for a very long time, it will be, let's say, a very metallic form in the very beginning. Then it will start becoming orange and it will go to red, right? And then it will start glowing again. It will actually be very bright so that you can't even view it, right? So as the temperature rises, the intensity of the color red also rises to a level that it becomes white. This is exactly what is happening here. As we are moving ahead in, let's say, rating or something, we are getting to a darker color, and as we are going below, we are having a very lightish color, right? We can change whatever gradation we want based on our needs, but why do we need this entire thing? So let's say you're a smith, and whenever you're actually working with iron rods and you're heating them, you can just look at it and you can estimate how hot the iron rod is. Just like that, we need not even read the entire information which is in front of us. We can always and always just click on conditional formatting and give a color gradation based on what we want. It can happen that the higher the numbers you want, a lighter color, and then you can just look at it, and based on the color gradation only, you can create a let's say inference, and this is exactly what is happening inside the entire cell, right? So this is why it is very necessary for you to know how to use conditional formatting in the first place. And this is a type of visualization only, and this is known as heat map. We'll do it again whenever we'll have some other function, but for now you need to understand how these things are working together, right? So we have done only one type of conditional formatting. I will also like to apply the cost of 2. Let's say I am a person who doesn't want to spend a lot, and that's why the lower the average cost of 2 is, the better it is for me, right? Also, one more thing which I might want to do is, let's say, filter, something that we have already done in last lecture, that we are already only able to see data which is from India, right? So I will filter, and I will only go with India because there will be currency difference. Then our conditional formatting will not work, and I'm going to apply conditional formatting in something known as prices now, right? So if we are at average cost of 2, I'll select every single cell that we have, and if I'm going to apply conditional formatting, I want to go with color scales. The lower it is, I want it to be, the higher it is, I want it to be red. The lower it is, I want it to be green, because that's how it is going to work for me, right? So I will instead of selecting green to red, I will be selecting red to green. And you can see now, and I can directly just look at all of these cells, and I can see how they are working. And I can say that, okay, if I have to sort, let's say sort from smallest to largest, or maybe largest to smallest, right? You can see most of the cells which are having very high rating are in yellow color. That means they are mid priced. And as I will go down, you can also see this still more very yellow. Let's see, why is this popping up like that? And as I'm going down, you can see darker colors, let's say shades of red have started, right, at a rating of 4.1. That means that the price point has decreased, right? And you can see a lot of reds coming up here as we are moving down. So this makes a lot of sense as well, right? The lower the rating is, the lower the cost, because let's say the restaurant wants more and more people to actually come, and so they need to charge more. But if you're giving supreme service and supreme taste, you can charge more. That is one thing that is actually happening here right now, right? So this is how exactly we can work around with this. And second thing is how, okay, I'll just do Control Z to undo whatever I've done till now, so that I can work around with more, let's say, examples. Yep. So this is how we can do with color scales. You can choose what you want, and if you're going to go at more, let's say, more rules, more rules, you can choose the color you want, right? I can choose any color from this palette, or I can choose from this palette also. Let's simply go on OK here. You can create your own panel based on what you want. For now, I don't want to do it because I've already selected only one cell. I'll select the entire row, and let's just try something else now. Now, instead of colors, I want something known as data bars. Let's apply this in voting instead, so that we can see the number of votes that we have here. Conditional formatting. I want to go with data bars, and in this we don't have, let's say, any gradation from one color to second color, but they are just bars. And once you will look at it, you will understand what these bars are all about, right? And you can see all of these bars are depicting how much is the voting level for each cell, and it will compare with all the other cells. So if you can see, there is a very small bar for 314, there is a very big bar for 107. And if I'm going to sort this entire thing, let's say I'm filtering and I'm sorting it based on largest to smallest, you can say, you can look at this entire, you can see how cool this entire data set is all about. Let's say the restaurant that is having the highest voting will have the complete set, the complete cell filled with only one bar, And as we'll go down, as the number of voting is actually going to decrease, you can see the bars are also decreasing, right? So they are relative bars to each other. Now tomorrow, if I'm going to, let's say, give 9800 rating here, you can see the level of bar changes, and now both of them are very comparable, right? Which was not the case before. So the one thing that you need to notice is how these bars are all relative to each other. Now, how it is important to you, you might just look at it and you can get an inference of what exactly is happening in this entire data set, and how useful this will be when you are actually working with, let's say, a sales manager. You can just create bars and you can see which particular product is giving you the highest sales, or which particular product is actually having the highest expenses for you, which a particular product is giving you the most margins and whatnot, right? You can just look at it and you can give the inference, right? That's the whole point of conditional formatting. You don't need to read the numbers and do it by yourself. Just look at the visual and get done with it, right? We explored data bars, color scales, icon sets is something that we rarely use, but they work in a similar fashion. I would like for you to actually go ahead with that. The most commonly used will be, the ratings, right? That is something that you can explore by yourself. It is just like how we have 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G network, and how's the speed and how's the strength of the network in the first place. That's exactly how this will work. So the lower the number is, the lower, the number of bars it will show is only 1 or 2. If it is very high, it will fill all the bars. If you want to go to, let's say, top to bottom rules, we can also see top 10 items in terms of voting. If I'm going to click here, you can see. Oh, I didn't select the entire cell, and now you can see the first 10 rows were actually highlighted in red, right? That's the item that I selected. I can always go with red text, that that the entire column will not be filled, but the text will be red in color, which is happening right now. I can do a custom format also based on what I want. I can change the font, I can do whatever I want, and this is something that you won't be working with all the time, but depending on your need, you can work with this. For now, I will just do Control Z again, and I'll do Control Z again, and top to bottom rule, you can also have top 10%, bottom 10 items, bottom 10%, above average and below average as well, right? So if I'm going to, let's say, below average, I want them in, let's say, a light red color. If I'm going to the bottom, oh, I didn't select the entire cell. One second. Conditional formatting, let's say top to bottom, and let's say above average, I want them to be in green. Click OK. And you can see the above average cells are actually in green, right? And let's say you have a particular format in your own mind. You can always say, I want in the bottom 10 or bottom, let's say, 100 or whatever you want. I am clicking on 11,000 right now. You can change the rule according to your own specific needs based on what analysis are you doing right now. For me, my entire agenda is to just teach you how to use these techniques when you are working with a particular company. Another thing is highlight cell rules. So right now it was just top to bottom rules. We were highlighting based on top and bottoms. You can also go ahead and you can say if it is greater than this number, lesser than this number, in between, equal to, text, all the text that contains, let's say, India or whatever, date that is being there in between, all the duplicate values. So if I'm clicking on duplicate values, nothing is going to happen because I already selected the votes column, but it will happen if I'm going to select, let's say, average cost of 2. That would work. And you can see all of these are actually duplicates. Why? Because one particular restaurant will have, let's say, comparable cost with someone else. So you can see how it is going to highlight, right? And you can again create your own rules based on what you want, right? And you can select then the rules based on your agenda also. And whenever you will go into more rules, all of these are going to be the same window that will open up. There's going to be no difference. You can see it here. It's just that it will be showing you different options to work around. You have to select from, let's say, select a rule type and then work around with that. So that would be it for this lecture. I hope you really liked it. And if you have any doubts, you can always reach out to me. I will love to help all of you as much as I can. And you can download the files from the description. Thank you for joining.